Hello to everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Here I'm actually going to be sharing with you a very interesting topic that I actually had planned out for a very long time. So I'm going to give you all a quick tour between the guide of how I actually started from nothing to having what I have today. Okay, so I'm going to step right into it one time. So a part of my business life hasn't been business structured, as I will say. I never had any idea of doing business. I never had that in my head whatsoever. Not even for a drink. I would take business for a drink. It all started with me just coming out from high school, and then I decided that okay, I'm gonna heave into um, the easiest thing that is in our country right now, which is construction. So what I did, I heaved into the construction site, and I started doing construction. But on the way on going with construction, I recognized that construction is not really my thing. So I was looking for something a little more lighter, which I can actually do. Okay, so I left school. Haven't graduated, but I did at least three subjects. I had actually grade two in agriculture, which I didn't really love. I didn't love that at all. But actually, as I continue going, I started sending applications for different jobs relating to the agriculture because this was my highest grading what's it, in the subjects I had. So I was focusing on the agriculture part. I even tried to get into extension officer, but I needed some experience into the field, which I didn't really acquire as yet. So ongoing, I actually visited the government, which had a nice program set it up. So I joined the program, and after joining the program, I recognized that I could see myself moving from that program and doing something better, I guess, as much with myself. So I continue going down that line. The program started. I were in the agriculture field. I started working along with the boss, and things was pretty okay for now until the program had opened another launch, which was an empowerment program. So instead of me doing a whole regeneration, they actually had made me to just heave over to the other program one time. So I just get a branch across to the other program while I was still working under the agriculture system. So I was doing strictly farming. I was dealing with bananas. We were doing small short crops in between. It wasn't something that actually the farmer was really into. He wasn't into the short crop, but he was actually into the long-term crops. But because he had gotten the help, we decided that we're going to hit the short crop one time. So I got the prior knowledge with the both crops, both the long-term, which is figs, bananas, provision, whatever plantains, yams, dashings. So I've got a small education light on this, and also on how to grow melons, cabbages, lettuce. Well, not lettuce, but cabbages, beetroots, carrots, and other vegetables that show up besides the lettuce, even tomatoes. So from then I actually finished off the program. The program was actually a year, but I actually spent 2 years because I were in two different programs at the same time, branched across. And then actually the business like structure actually came to me because actually in that program, when we actually finished the program, we have to give. We were about to actually have. They were giving us at least $2,400 to start our life. Okay, it wasn't anything concerning business. During the program, what we heard is that we're gonna get that money and then we're gonna go out into the world and we're gonna do whatever we want with it. Okay, so that was the plan for the government. But actually, when the government maybe look into it really, they recognize that if they give young men, it was actually a program for young men. So if they give young men $2,400 to actually go out, sometimes we fall back into the same mess. Okay, we may bad spend the money. We may actually not actually still become something in life. So what the government had did, they had actually changed the policy of the program, which our noticed. So they had given us the 2,400 in assets instead of actually having a business. So this is where I had to write my business plan. I had to choose a business I love. So I was actually refreshed. I was just starting. I had no experience in business whatsoever. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to expect. So I decided that it's a very good opportunity so that I can actually get myself off the ground. So I started with it. Chose falls, which is boilers. I was going into the poultry because my mom and my dad used to do the poultry some years ago, and I believe that they had the experience, so I could actually get some experience from them. But ongoing, based on the houses, based on where I live, I recognize that I haven't had any places to actually do a proper structure for pen to control the scent and all this stuff, and persons might be complaining. So I decided I'm going to branch off from that, and I'm going to head to the nursery. So that's where I actually started the nursery, and it was a win-win for me. I couldn't say that it wasn't a win-win for me because after starting that, I had a very good recommendation from the program. So they had actually given me an opportunity to inherit a greenhouse. So that's how I come I actually get the greenhouse. So after I got to the greenhouse, then I decided that I'm going to see business how it works, see where it can take you, and continue going that flow. Okay, so that was my kind of vibe there. So I actually continue going on that line. So as I started the nursery was going pretty fine. Um, the intakes was kind of slow from the beginning, which I expected. I didn't expect to just heave into something and it actually stick off like one time. It's going to take some time. That's how business actually works, and you have to put in the hard work. So as I continued doing, I recognized that it was actually something that I could get myself comfortable with, and I started loving the job. And then I continued going on and on and on and on until actually I recognize that why only have one business, okay? Which is very something very specifically that persons who is doing business should actually have in mind. Never have one business, never rely on one job, and never have one source of income, okay? It's all the same thing. So then I got to the idea that, okay, why don't I have something secondary to in case that um, I cannot run the business due to some kind of a pretty larceny. It may be a storm, it could be something that passed and actually based on that one structure I have, it can destroy, I can lose, and actually I have nothing to sustain me while I actually trying to build back that business which had been broken down. So I decided to start a seasoning business, which I actually did. So this was my second businesses, and what I did in getting the business going, it had actually given me some prior knowledge from the first business, how to operate, um, how customer services work, how to make markets, and all of them stuff like that. So the first business has given me a nice little outline on how I should continue going. Okay. So from the seasoning, I actually decided that there was some lands around the place that was actually just loose. So I decided why not actually use the extra plants from my nursery to hooked up another business right there. So I was actually having a nursery, selling the seedling plants, and I was actually having the vegetables to sell to supermarkets, and I actually had the seasoning selling to schools, supermarkets, and continue going. And then from there, I see other opportunities where I can actually open other businesses and continue going. So this was my life in a nutshell, from starting from nothing at all. I just, as I said, I just finished from school, and we were looking for a job. And what I would ever recommend is if you don't really have the experience for a job, um, I would say writing applications and things is very good, but it's actually no use sometimes in the countries which you're at because most of the job lines ask for requirements and they ask for things like experience, where have you worked before, um, what are you good at, what field, you're just entering from school and you have nothing to actually offer. So my opportunity I can say to you is that if you actually go to the site or the business place or the company, whatever place that you see that you really love doing the job in, you can actually go straight to the boss. You can try to get to the secretary, go straight to the boss, and actually try to plead your cause to the boss because that's a little more better than actually writing a letter and waiting for a response. Because actually, what it does, sometimes they actually watch your letter. Sometimes they say that they're not hiring right now. Sometimes they really need person, but actually because of your non-experience, they are gonna actually put your paper aside, and you may be a backup to that company in case that something happens now or later that they have actually a short of staff. Then they can jump back to that and call you. But you want a job right now. So the real deal about it, I actually gasp from it is actually because I did business, I can say go to the company, talk to the boss one on one, let the boss know, well, actually, I want a job and I haven't had any experience much, but actually, you let the boss know that what you can do, what you can handle. Show him that you're actually interested in the job. Show him that you actually want the job, because applications just come and actually you don't get picked. So that was something I actually look into, and this is what made me actually do business in the first place, because I actually recognize that bosses try to, you know, they varies different. Um, they don't want to actually stick someone which they have to start all the way over again to train you and all them type of things. So that they see this as actually lost for the business instead of gain. So that's why they look for experienced persons. So even though you don't really have the necessary equipments to gain experience, I would recommend actually there is YouTube, there is Google, there's a lot of different platforms which actually send out a lot of different things. They can show you how things work. You can actually start doing a small course on YouTube. You can see things, you can learn things, you can research things. You can actually get yourself into a very good um, place where you can gain an experience for yourself. Okay, so by doing it, I would say like when after you got in your YouTube experience, this is not actually a field required for a business, because they're gonna say that you just learned something on the internet and you may be trying something. Okay, so what I would recommend you do to the persons that you actually want to get a job with, after you have learned it from YouTube, you can actually work with your tools, whether it be your computer, your phone, whatsoever you're using, whatever business field you're actually into, and you want to do a practical for the business owner, so that he can see that you didn't just watch a video and you didn't just um, see something and know how it works, but you actually learn the skill, and that's how you gain the skill. Okay, so that could be a very good, I could say, strategy so that you can use to actually gain a business. And even though you're actually working, don't see your work as just you going to work. See your work also as a business, because actually you have to put aside your money for your bus fare, wheresoever you have to be taken to and brought back. And also you may have bills to pay. You have to actually schedule. So business is something like this. So I will say that if you're doing a good job and you cannot actually afford to open a business, you don't have no, I could say, you don't have no leading cause to open a business, because the facilities are actually off your limits. But you have a very good job, I would recommend you treat that job as a business. You put aside a profit which you're going to be working for. It may be $1,000. You may take $500 for your debt. You may have another $500 put away as a profit, and you split up yourself and you actually budget your money. And it's all to do with the same things like business. Business is just the part that you actually being the owner of somebody, controlling a large amount or a large sum of ingredients, whatever it may be, and you may be selling to customers and trying to gain a profit. So if you're actually just coming out from school and you want to get into business, that's just my part one part of it. I'm going to be continuing to give you all the guideline part of how I started, and this is just my first video. So I'm going to be showing you the second video of when you choose a business part, whatever part you want to choose, whether it be work, whether it be business, how you actually go about budgeting yourself, building yourself, and seeing your way in life. So thank you all for watching under this channel. I hope you liked that video. You can actually like, share, subscribe, and you can actually relate the video to anyone that you know who is interested as a young person in doing farming, whatever it may be. It can be any business, but everything you do, I just want you to actually see it as a business so that you can know how to budget yourself, and you can actually also has something to actually go by every time. So see you all in the next video.